This is Michael Ward with New Way Health and Fitness, and here today we're with Dr. Phil learning about the hip flexors and really how to stretch and get that engaged in the golf swing.
Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Phil with ImpactHealthNow.com, and I'm going to basically go over a quick little hip flexor stretch, but I want you guys to get oriented to the body because the hip flexor stretch is very tied into the lower back. And a lot of people complain in the golfing world about lower back problems, and a lot of it has to do with coming out of the hip. So what I'm going to try to show you guys is to get the hip to let go a little bit more to decrease the load, which ends up getting thrown through the lower back. So I'm going to have him get into a position on how the stretch is going to be performed. And then I'm going to take you through a few steps on what you need to look at through so that you can get the motion done correctly. All right, so this is going to be the start position for the hip flexor stretch. Very, very important. You want to make sure the back leg is straight to even a little bit rotated out further. That's going to allow you to load the hip flexor that you're stretching better and get a little bit more of a release. So now when you're starting to stretch, as we said before, the most important thing is to look into the abdominals. You have to keep them engaged because if you don't keep them engaged, it's not going to balance out the pelvis, and if you do too aggressive into the hip flexor stretch, you're going to torque in the lower back, which is what we're trying to get away from. And so the stretch itself is a very subtle motion, but if done correctly, it doesn't take much to feel the stretch in the hip flexor. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to gently draw in your abdominals, like as if you're trying to tuck your tailbone or your tail, and you're really sitting here without moving your upper body and just drawing your abdominals in, like as if you're exhaling. So as you exhale, you draw the abdominals in. It's another way of tucking your pelvis. That's the start position. And if you do it right, you're automatically going to start feeling load in that hip flexor. You're going to feel some in the quad by default because it affects the area. And it's all connected, yes. So after you grab the abdominals, after you engage them and you keep them engaged, then you're going to slowly allow your body just to come forward, maybe an inch to an inch and a half. It doesn't take much if you have the engagement of the abdominals. If you notice yourself moving way far forward, then you're going too aggressive and your abdominals aren't engaged enough. So we're going to show with the other leg, so this way you can see a little bit more of the hip position. So switch.
Now what if I do it wrong?
If you do it wrong, you're going to feel a lot more load through your lower back because it's going to cause you to over hyperextend, which is what we're trying to get away from to begin with. Because those hip flexors are attached to your lower back on the front side, they're going to leverage through your back more, and it's going to give you more of a rotation in the opposite direction, which you will feel more here if you do it wrong.
Right.
So that's why the idea is a very, very subtle motion, with the abdominals being the most important part. And if you do that right, you can almost feel a release in the back as well too, almost right away. So switch knees for me, and we'll get in this position. So now this is the other leg. We're going to do the same thing. Again, as I said, very important. Keep that leg neutral to a little bit out further so you can load that hip flexor better, and it gives you a little bit more of a feel. So now you're going to draw the abdominals in. So now you see he was able to draw them in a little bit better this way without dropping his chest or without leaning back. So he's starting to develop that awareness. And he should already start feeling a little bit more tension in here. Once you do that, let the body slowly move to the forward, and you give yourself half an inch to an inch, and that's as far as you need to go. And there's many more ways you can add more intensity to it, but for all purposes, intensity is not what you're looking for. And you can come out of the stretch. You can go back into the stretch, and then you can come out of the stretch. So that's about as much motion as you want. Again, there's other things you can do with your leg to make it more increased, but for starters, you really want to draw the abdominals in to make sure that you get that right stretch on the hip flexor without loading the lower back too much.
So how is this going to help in the golf swing as far as me loosening up either before a round or after a round?
Okay, the back is not designed to do rotational motion sideways. It's a stability joint. It's very good in a front plane, in a backwards plane, and in a sideways plane, but rotational motion can be a lot of force through the lower back. You want the motion to come out of your hips, but you need the stability in your abdominals to help you follow through the motion when you're doing that rotary movement as a golf swing. This needs to be stable, and what ends up happening is if you don't have the stability in the abdominals, then you're going to end up leveraging through the lower back. And now if the lower back is in the wrong position when you're doing your swing, all the forces are going to go through here, and then you're going to start irritating those joints and eventually stiffen it up even more. So a lot of it comes out of the abdominals because your power comes through your hips. If you do it wrong, your power is going to end up coming out of your lower back, and that's how you're going to cause more insult to injury aside from having just a tight back.
And I could feel just now when I kind of got a little lazy.
Exactly. So if you get lazy, exactly, it'll bite you right away. Now if you have any more injuries in the area and you don't know it, let's say you have a joint issue, a disc issue, a nerve issue, now that's already predisposed, you're going to get some more irritation. So again, it still goes back to that abdominal engage, And if you do have the injury, or if you have a problem, you can feel that let go right away.
Right.
As
That's
soon as
still
you-
tight on like my left
Yeah.
side. I was tight, but I wasn't holding this for a little while.
Exactly. And so, but that's really what you're looking for, that subtlety of the motion.
Hey, thanks for watching. Thank you, Dr. Phil with Impact Health Now, for all your help and expertise today. Let us know what you thought about the video. Give a thumbs up, thumbs down, and don't forget to click that subscribe button.